Earlier this month, autonomous software testing startup Antithesis announced that it raised $105 million in a Series A funding round. The company's CEO, Will Wilson, joins me here in studio. Will, welcome to the New York Stock Exchange.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, so before we dive into the news, what does Antithesis do?
It's really simple. We find bugs in software. And these days, that's actually a really big deal because software systems are running everything from your bank account to like the control systems in the airplane you're flying in. So when software doesn't work right, it can be really, really catastrophic, and we're trying to make it so that doesn't happen anymore.
When software doesn't work right, you're saying it could be catastrophic. What are the types of things that could happen?
Oh, I mean, anything, right? Like these days, software, like Mark Andreessen once said that software is eating the world, meaning all kinds of processes in basically every industry you can think of, and basically everything you do during your day is all running on software. Like that's true of the New York Stock Exchange's trading systems. That's true of like, Uber's networks that make it possible for you to get around. That's true of, like I said, airplanes. Like they're basically big computers these days. And that's a problem because sometimes computers don't work right.
And you're saying that this round of funding will allow reliability not to just be achievable, but expected. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. So the reason that software programs generally don't work super well is that historically the way people have tried to make them work is by like thinking ahead of time of all the things that could go wrong and then writing little test cases that catch each of those situations. But the problem with that whole approach is that most things that go wrong are not things that you can think of ahead of time. It's like unexpected stuff that happens in the world. It's unknown unknowns. And so we have a totally different approach where we take your software system and we actually just expose it to all the crazy stuff that can happen in the world without you having to think it all through in advance. And that way we see what it will do in real life when it runs. And that catches way more issues before they become real life disasters.
Are you doing that by using AI?
Yeah, we're using a bunch of AI. I mean, our customers are also using a lot of AI, and that's one of the kind of exciting things for us right now is everybody's using AI to write code, and that's great. It means you can go really, really fast for certain kinds of projects, but it also tends to introduce a lot more bugs. And so it just, it does mean more business for us.
All right, and how do you plan to allocate this capital?
A whole bunch of ways. I mean, we're obviously going to be staffing up in a major way in terms of go-to-market. We think there's a really big opportunity right now to break into financial sector, a bunch of industries. Most of our current customers are software companies, but we think this is the year that we're going to break out into the mainstream a little more. We also are just going to keep making our stuff smarter, faster, easier to use, able to test more different kinds of software. There's a lot of work to still do on all that, and it's going to be great.
How are you coming up with all of these scenarios to test?
Yeah, so that's a little bit of the secret sauce. But basically, the way this works is we take your software and we put it in a simulation of reality, okay? Like it's like a fake virtual data center or a fake virtual phone or computer or wherever your software runs. And then we can just take all of the things that happen sometimes in the real world and we can make them happen a lot more often. And we can make them happen in crazy combinations that you would never have thought of. And we can make your users do crazy stuff that you wouldn't have expected them to do, or fill in forms with funny names that maybe you weren't ready for or whatever. And sort of try and find all of this stuff that is going to happen eventually once your software gets out.
And I understand this round of funding was led by Jane Street. Why is that significant for you?
It's really cool, actually, because Jane Street was a customer of ours. And we totally did not expect them to lead this funding round. But basically, they've been using this system to test one of their most important software systems that they use to do a lot of trading. And, they loved it, and they liked it so much that they kind of think it's the future of software development. And so they approached us and asked if they could lead this round. And, we think that's an amazing story. We also think that Jane Street's a good example of the kind of customer we want to have more of next year. And so it was just a no-brainer to say yes to them.
The highest compliment, and that is a great story. And what do you think is driving the need for greater software reliability?
Yeah, well, like I said, it's basically two different things. One is that software is becoming ever more critical, and it's being used in more and more parts of the world. Like vast parts of the economy are basically getting automated or virtualized or turning into software. And so that means the stakes when things go wrong are like much, much higher than they used to be. The flip side, the other thing, is that people are just producing a whole lot more software, And everybody right now is under tremendous pressure to go really fast. And when people go really fast, sometimes they forget about quality, and so that creates more of a need for something that enables you to go fast while maintaining quality, which is what we let you do.
I think with AI, that's really the nature of it. Like everything is so quick. Data centers being just put up, like zoom, zoom, zoom. So great point. Will Wilson from Antithesis, thank you so much for joining us at the New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.